All right, I am driving around Atlanta. While I do what I do, helping people buy and sell homes, and talking about what I'm seeing going on the market, maybe some tips to help home buyers maximize their purchase when it comes to their single largest investment, and help home sellers make a little bit more money while selling their home. And as always, today's episode is brought to you by not Dunkin' Donuts, but caffeine. Because caffeine keeps me moving. I love my coffee. So that being said, I'm on the way to Jasper, helping the son of some very special clients of mine look at a home. Don't normally operate in the Jasper area, and the only reason he wants to look up there is because that's where his parents' new home is. He's going to be more down towards me, more than likely, but we're going to check out one home up there today and then work our way down. So today we're talking about overpricing a home is is something that is costs sellers money, and sometimes there are some hidden expenses to overpricing your home. Yeah, that's right. Things you may not think about when you're selling your home and you want to get top dollar. And so you price it for the most you can price. So hey, time, we're going to start with number one, right? Reason number one why, overpricing your home costs you money in the long run, right? Time is money. Every minute, every month that your home is on the market, right? That's an extra mortgage payment. That's longer holding time. Utilities, right? Lawn care, taxes. People don't think about these sort of things, right? These are things that, hey, you are not gonna get back. People think, well, I'm living in the house, or maybe you're not living in the house. Sometimes people are selling a home that they're not living in. HOA, right? HOA dues, you're never getting back. Interest on a home, taxes, all these things are just expenses you will not recoup when it comes to overpricing your home. All right, number two, buyer's watch, days on market. Perception becomes reality. I mean, this is truth, okay? Like when, ultimately right now we are 30 to 60 days on market, and we are expecting homes to not sell in a week. Sometimes they do, and they don't always sell that fast. Or for the most part, they don't. We're looking at 30, 60 days on market. But once you start getting out past that time, buyers start wondering what is wrong with the home, and perception becomes reality. So all of a sudden now, instead of wanting to see a home, they say, there's probably something wrong with it. I don't want to waste my time. And so, that which brings us to number three. Number three reason why overpricing your home is just beating up your bottom line. Hey, the first 2 weeks matter the most. New listings generate the most online traffic, all right? And then the highest online traffic will transfer and become the highest foot traffic in your home. So a strong price encourages multiple showings and hopefully multiple offers, right? Multiple offers is always an ideal scenario for home owners when it comes to buying or selling a home. All right, let's see here. Trying not to get in an accident while I drive around here. Got to be safe while giving the tips that I'm giving. So, hey, price reductions. Price reductions can create similar excitement to a new listing. But there's a few things you want to pay attention to when it comes to price reductions, right? One, you do not want to chase down the market. And that's what some people end up doing. They end up saying, okay, well, I'll start at, $650,000, and if it doesn't work out, I'll reduce price. Now, here's the thing. At $650,000, you've got to make it a meaningful price reduction, right? So if you do like a $5,000 reduction on $650,000, that signals nothing to a buyer. Really, at that price point, $5,000 on a mortgage is minimal when it comes to what your monthly payments are. Now, I'm not saying $5,000 is a minimal amount of money. It's just on a mortgage payment, when you spread that out over 30 years, it's really not that much money on your monthly payment. So, ultimately, the online acceptance is already passed from the home having been the new listing. However, the price project said, hey, we kind of like the home. We felt it was overpriced. Maybe we'll go take a look at it now. So, hey, chasing number 5, right? Chasing the market can cost thousands of dollars, right? New listings are going to seem like they might offer better value. Buyers are going to compare your home to the newly listed home, probably going to go see the newly listed home first, and ultimately, you're also setting up other sellers to price their home more effectively, right? When they see, hey, I've got the same size house. This home seller has been on the market for 45 days, very similar home to mine, and their price is $650,000. That clearly didn't work. If I want to sell, I need to sell my home. I need to price my home for less than this home priced for. Now think about that. Yes, you are setting up future competition to make it easier for them to sell their home and understand what they need to price their home for. That's a big, big deal. So, and then the longer you wait, it can force a larger price cut. Now, a larger price cut can potentially be helpful. I'm working with a seller right now who we priced the home a little too high. I definitely did not want to start where we started. It is what it is. It's a home that we're going to sell. So, ultimately we had to do a price reduction, and recently we just did a massive, instead of potentially doing 2 price cuts and chasing the market down, we said, let's go for 1 large price cut, right? Let's see what happens. Because ultimately, we're more likely to get multiple offers on that price cut. So we did a $40,000 price cut, which is not ideal for any seller. Trust me, it hurts when you have to do that. But at the same time, if you have to sell your home and you overpriced out the gate, then you have to make strong strategic decisions to move your home. Well, day 1, yesterday, we had 6 showings. We've already got 2 showings scheduled today, and an offer has already come in, a full price offer, which is incredibly helpful, because now if another offer comes in, it's easy to be like, hey, we've got multiple offers. We would like your highest and best offer by, this time, whatever day we say that's going to be. So a strong price cut was incredibly helpful, right? And something I talked about earlier, the hidden costs. Those number 6 is carrying costs. They do add up quickly. The mortgage payments, the insurance premiums, utilities, maintenance, landscaping and upkeep, opportunity costs. There we go. That's a big one too. Like opportunity costs of waiting. What's the opportunity cost that's keeping you from getting where you want to be in your life? That was something I talked to one of my clients about. We had a listing on his home. We had his home listed, and it was in a market area that's actually having a lot of competition with new construction. So resales, and even though it was only a few years old, there was new construction in the neighborhood still. So we initially priced at $500, which actually wasn't overpriced. But the problem was a home in the neighborhood that was technically comparable. Not technically, it wasn't comparable. Instead of it being a 2.2, it was a 3.3. Came on the market at $480,000 and was going to close at $480,000. And it was 200 square feet larger. And my client wanted to move closer to his family. I said, to my client, I said, look, this is not ideal. The offer came in at $475. I think $475. $475. I said that home's about to be a comparable. As soon as that home closes, it's going to be a comparable, and home buyers are going to say, "Wow, a larger home sold for $480. Are they going to pay that premium for your home?" More than likely not. Which means if 500 is your number, you're going to be sitting on the market more than likely, or taking your home off the market until the property values come up, and you're able to get the dollar figure you want. Is the opportunity cost of not being closer to your daughter worth $5,000 at this stage in your life? And ultimately, right after we had that conversation, I said, take some time, think about it. We have until tomorrow to respond. He called me back 5 minutes later, said, Tony, let's accept the offer. Let's make it happen, right? Because he recognized, hey, it was the right move, and it really was the right move, because that part of Atlanta is really having a hard time. Even new construction is dropping price. So that would have been kind of he would have probably taken up. He would still be in that home or sold it for even less than he wanted to. So now let's go to pricing strategically can actually increase your final sales price. And this is a big one to pay attention to. Let's look at that $40,000 price drop, right? Had we priced at $500,000 out the gate and put it on the market when we did, we would have closed by now. We would have probably had multiple offers given the exposure to the market, and we would have gone over ask more than likely. I can't guarantee it. However, I can specifically say, I had another client who I referred out. She bought with me here in Atlanta, but I referred her out to sell her home out of state. And her home had been on the market. It wasn't her primary home. It was a rental property. It had been on the market for 2 years at $350,000. And we just said, look, $5,000. Everybody has seen this home that's shopping, right? And ultimately we said, look, if you're going to drop the son talked about it, said, let's drop the price to $280,000. Now, this is a hard pill to swallow for anybody who thinks their home's worth $350,000, right? And ultimately what happened was the price got driven up to over $300,000, and then they ended up closing for around $300,000, I think the number was, after the inspection was done. But had they done, a $10,000 price drop wouldn't have done it, right? Maybe a $25,000 price drop would have gotten some attention. But anybody, home that's been vacant for a long time, it ages differently, right? It just does. It's not being maintained. You're maybe not running the HVAC as much. All these things cause problems in a vacant home. So had they dropped the price down $25,000, then somebody would have come in, lowballed them on price because they saw it was on the market for 2 years, and then they would have beat them up in the inspection, ultimately probably landing below where they landed. So because they got multiple offers, they were able to have leverage in the conversation around the home, even though it had been on the market for so long. Right? Look, the market's spoken. They say, yeah, this is what it's worth. It was way overpriced before. Now this is the price of the home, because we do have multiple people saying, they want the home. And it makes it much easier to go back to a buyer that says, hey, we want you to do A, B, and C. We would to reduce price, or we're going to back out. And he said, well, I've got a backup offer. Take it or leave it. A lot of times they take it. I had a very, very similar situation in a land deal where the buyer tried reducing price by $30,000 at the end of the inspection period, and I had a backup offer, cash, exact same terms. I said, no. They're going to take it like it is. That, it's up to you. And guess what? They took that price. So pricing right, strategic pricing, underpricing your home to drive up price can absolutely create value. And finally, the cost of waiting and overpricing goes beyond value and money, right? Consistently having to keep your home showroom ready. Yes, some people keep their home immaculate and clean, but at the same time, there are certain things you just have to clean all the time if a showing is showing up, right? Having to interrupt your daily life for showings. It's not easy, all right? Like I said, keeping the home spotless. There's uncertainty involved, right? Not knowing what you're doing in your life and not knowing when you're going to be able to make a change, when you're going to have closure on this chapter of your life. It's tough. It's stressful. Delayed life plans. Ultimately, you're slowing up where you want to be in life. And is that something, when it comes to, a few $1,000s, is it worth it? That's up for you to decide. You have to make the best decision for you. Obviously, some people need the money, but ultimately, one of the big things I tell my clients, the market doesn't care what you need. It simply doesn't, right? The value of your home is the value of your home. And the value of your home is what the market is willing to pay for it. So you should try and set aside what you need and make it about what's most important to you. in your life. And emotional fatigue, right? There is going to be emotional fatigue from delayed, from the longer you're on the market and delayed price reduction. It could ultimately set you up for failure when it comes to selling your home in the long run. So hopefully that's all that information is helpful, right? Maybe I'm here to help you buy a home, sell homes, help you maximize what is more than likely your biggest investment. And here's the thing, if I can help you buy a home or sell a home anywhere here in Atlanta, right? In Dunwoody, Cumming, Sandy Springs, Milton, Alpharetta, Johns Creek, Chastain Park, Buckhead, right? Marietta, Kennesaw, all the surrounding, Tucker. Let me know. Give me a call. Send me an email. And my goal is to be a long-term resource. I'm not just here to help you sell your home, buy a home. Maybe you need a contractor. I've got a great referral network. And if you are looking to sell your home anywhere in the U.S., please reach out because I've got a great referral network. I've got a massive network of agents that I stay in touch with regularly to help my clients all over the U.S., for those that move out of Atlanta and for people who are moving to Atlanta, right? I deal with a lot of people moving here as well. I do things like, hey, we do video FaceTime tours, right? To help people see homes when they're, moving from Texas, moving from New York, moving from Florida, moving from California, wherever they're moving from to here to Atlanta. One of the big things about that is we've got the technology to do it. So, that being said, I am Tony Teutsch with Keller Williams, Atlanta Perimeter, and Legacy Lifestyle Collective. And this is Living and Moving in Atlanta. Yes.